All right, guys, here we are with a third example, and the function here is h of x, and h of x is equal to 7x plus 5 over x minus 4. So let's get straight into this. We're asked to find h of 0, first of all. So again, we're going to write the original function, which is h of x, and h of x is equal to 7x plus 5 divided by x minus 4. So in part 1, we're finding h of 0. That means we're replacing x with 0. 7 times 0 plus 5 over 0 minus 4. That gives us 5 over negative 4, which essentially is the same as negative 1 and 1 over 4. So the value of h of 0 is negative 1 and a quarter. Let's take a look at part 2 of the question. So in part 2, they're asking us to find h of negative 3, which means wherever x is, we're going to put negative 3. So it's going to be 7 times minus 3 plus 5 divided by minus 3 minus 4. So 7 times minus 3 is minus 21. Add it to 5, and you owe 3 and you owe 4. That means you owe 7. If you have $5 at home and you owe somebody 21, they're going to come for it, and you're going to still owe them 16. Now, when the numerator and denominators are negative, then you have a positive fraction, and that's an improper fraction. So 7 into 16 2 times, and 2 over 7. So the value of h of negative 3 is 2 and 2 over 7. Let's move into part 3 of the question. Part 3 says, determine the value of x when the function is equal to 0. And again, in order for a fractional function to be equal to 0, its numerator must be equal to 0 for sure. So we solve for x. X is equal to negative 5 over 7. So that's the value of x. In part 4, we're asked to determine the value of x when h of x is undefined. H of x is a fractional function, and when a fractional function is undefined, it means math error, which means the value of the denominator is equal to 0. So the value of x is going to be equal to 4. So that's the answer to part 4. Now in part 5, we're asked to find the inverse of h of negative 1. And we cannot find the inverse of h of negative 1 unless we find the inverse of h of x first. So let's go ahead and find the inverse of h of x. So again, the original function in answering part 5, the original function is h of x, and that is going to be equal to 7x plus 5 over x minus 4. Now we need to find the inverse. So let h of x, let y equal to 7x plus 5 over x minus 4. That's the first step. And interchange x and y, which means wherever x is, you put y, and wherever y is, you're going to put x. So what we're going to have here is x equals 7y plus 5 over y minus 4. So I've interchanged x and y. The next thing we need to do is solve for y. That means to make y the subject. So I'm going to write this back, and again, you know where I'm going. Always, always, always put the denominator in bracket, because when you cross multiply, if you don't have the brackets, then that step is going to be incorrect. All right, let's proceed. So we're going to cross multiply by the denominator. The denominator is y minus 4, and that's going to be equal to 7y plus 5. We're going to expand this. Xy minus 4x equals 7y plus 5. And we're going to put all the y's on one side and everybody else on the other side. So it's going to be xy minus 7y equals, it carry over the negative 4x, it becomes positive. Then we're going to factorize that. So y is common in both terms. X minus 7 is in the bracket. And then y is going to be equal to 4x plus 5 over x minus 7. So now that we know what y is, it therefore means that the inverse of h of x is equal to 4x plus 5 over x minus 7. Now, they've asked us to find the inverse of h of negative 1. So now we have the inverse, we can go ahead and do that. So the inverse is right there. Now we're going to go ahead and find the inverse of h of negative 1. So we're going to go ahead, since the inverse of h of x is equal to 4x plus 5 over x minus 7, then the inverse of h of negative 1 is simply going to be equal to 4 times negative 1 plus 5 over negative 1 minus 7. So all we need to do now is work that out, and we're completely finished with the solution to the entire problem. So this is going to be negative 4 plus 5, you owe 1 and you owe 7, that means in all you owe 8. You have $5 at home, you owe somebody 4, they come for it, you're going to be left with 1. So the final answer is negative 1 over 8. So the value of the inverse of h of negative 1 would be negative 1/8. Alright guys, now I hope that you've been following, and I hope that you found this video insightful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.